this right here, you bunch of prima donna ballerina mother.
Hi, welcome to SBR Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. It is Tuesday, July 22nd, and we are doing our regular MLB series preview betting show with Troy West from allplayswin.com. Right now, we're going to take a look ahead to the games that are starting this weekend. Troy, thanks for being back with us.
Hey, thanks a lot, Pete. I appreciate it. I know we were going about 500 for the last week or so, and then came away with a huge 3-0 sweep last night, and actually knocked down our biggest total play of the year as the Mariners game ended 5-2. We had under 7.5, so really started to catch fire here, Pete. Really excited to continue this second half run we've been doing here in baseball.
Really awesome. All right, so I know you had a great May, a great June, and July is profitable as well in baseball at your site?
So far, it's profitable. Not a massive profitable month, but you and I both know in this business, Pete, if you get ahead at the end of the month, it's always a good month. And right now, we're on pace for that.
Let's start with the series from this upcoming weekend. The first one I want to discuss might be the no-brainer of the month, right? You tell me if you agree with it or not. Oakland heads into Texas, Oakland at Texas, and Texas, of course, completely tanking. They've been absolutely awful. They weren't that awful in the beginning of the year, but they've been terrible in recent weeks, and they're now minus 19% ROI on the year, which is the absolute worst in baseball. They're number 30 in baseball in terms of the money standings, and Oakland is plus 11% ROI on the year. That's second best in baseball. Go over some other numbers. Texas, minus 28% ROI at home. That's worst in baseball. Minus 67% ROI in July. That's obviously awful. Oakland profitable as ever in July. No-brainer on Oakland here?
I would absolutely agree with you here. I would also lean possibly on the over. I don't know what totals you're going to get, but my God, this pitching staff's been so bad. And you look at that Friday matchup, Jason Hamill, he's been off to a tough start for Oakland. He's 0-2 with an ERA at 9, and going against Nick Tepish, who's 3-5 with an ERA almost 5. I may almost, my official pick, I'd probably go over in that series. I think at least 2 of the 3 go over. Both lineups are okay. And both pitching staffs are obviously, Oakland has a much better staff than Texas, but I think Texas could get some runs. I think Oakland gets a lot of runs.
Yeah.
I would probably go, if I had to do it, Pete, I would probably go on the over in this series. I just think Texas pitching is so bad, but they do have potential here and there to put up some runs. I'll go with the over in that series.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I'll go with officially Oakland in this series. You'll take the overs, and I think we can both agree that the Oakland team total overs might be the best play of all in this series. All right, then the second series that's caught my eye, Mets at Milwaukee. Now, this is a little bit tricky. Milwaukee's been profitable on the year. They've had their ups and downs, but overall, they've been nicely profitable, plus 4%. Mets pretty mediocre. We know the deal with them, and they are minus 1.5% ROI on the year. In July, it hasn't been good for Milwaukee, minus 53% ROI, and the Mets have actually had a very good July, plus 15%. I think those are both a little bit fluky, a little bit anomalous. In June, it was completely the opposite. Milwaukee was great in June. The Mets were bad, and I'm thinking that Milwaukee might have some value here. What do you think?
Yeah, I would go with Milwaukee in this series after watching the Mets play out here in Seattle last night, and then again in that San Diego series. Their bats are really starting to struggle. You go into that series, I think with the pitching matchups, they're going to favor Milwaukee. This is an unbelievable race right now in the NL Central where every game is almost a playoff game for Milwaukee. I know the Mets aren't totally out of the race, but I'm not really buying where they're at right now. Their pitching staff extremely inconsistent. I know they're talking trade talks with getting rid of some of their veteran arms. I'd go with Milwaukee. I think the numbers will be low enough here where they'll have some value. I think Milwaukee will take 2 out of 3.
And then there's 2 series that I'm thinking about. Tell me which one you like more, or if you don't like either of them, tell me that as well. First one is St. Louis at the Cubs. Now, you know I love to fade the Cubs whenever they look like they're getting into one of their funks. We're just losing over and over and over again, and that does look like what they're dealing with right now. Of course, they traded Samardzija and Hamill, and they've been losing recently since then, kind of like their year's over, right? They're minus 11% ROI on the year, and St. Louis, good pitching staff. Their offense has been a little more productive recently. They've been winning in July, plus 23% ROI in July. Again, the Cubs have been terrible recently. Very bad ROI in July. So is this an auto fade of the Cubs situation here?
I would think so. I did look ahead at this pitching matchup, though. The Cardinals are going to have Joe Kelly going Friday night, who can be inconsistent, and then Carlos Martinez going on Saturday. He's also inconsistent at times. But the Cardinals, I think, will be a good bet down the stretch, Pete. In this particular series, they may have some low numbers, so they may have some value. So I would go maybe a small play on them. They do get Wainwright going on Sunday. We know he's a consistent bet just about every time he pitches. And I just, as a gambler out there, I think the Cardinals, with with this ball club, the veteran status. We know they're there every single year. I think they'll have some value down the stretch. This particular series scares me a little bit just because Carlos Martinez and Joe Kelly are the two main pitchers in this series. So I'll take a pass officially, but I do think the Cardinals will have value down the stretch.
All right, thanks for checking those pitching matchups. That definitely obviously matters. And then I was thinking about St. Louis or taking Washington at Cincinnati. I'm pretty high on Washington right now in general, so I'm always vaguely looking towards betting on them in any game or series. And they're playing Cincinnati. Washington plus 10% ROI in July. Cincinnati minus 9%. We know they're having some few more injuries on offense, which has kind of plagued them all year. I know their pitching staff is generally very good, but to my eye, Washington is looking just a little bit stronger, and I'm thinking that maybe they're the side with value in this series. What do you think?
This is going to be an awesome series. I think every NL Central matchup when these teams have teams that are in the playoff hunting, and in order to win this Central, you're going to see some great ball games. I'm going to go with the Nationals as well, Pete. This is just one of the better pitching staffs in baseball. They're getting big starts from Tanner Roark. Nobody had really heard of him going into the season. He goes in that series. Gio Gonzalez has been a bit better. He goes against Cueto on Saturday. I think this is going to be a great series, but in the end, I think you're going to probably see the Nationals possibly be underdogs right around that minus 110. I'll take the Nationals as well, Pete. I think they'll get 2 out of 3, but this is going to be a great series.
All right, Troy, thanks for your advice and your thoughts. I'll go on with the official record with Cincinnati and Washington. Both of them. What the hell? All right, Troy, that's all I have for the upcoming weekend series. A lot of series that I'm liking. Is there anything that we didn't get to that you think is worth mentioning?
One series I think is just going to be fantastic is going to be Baltimore coming into Seattle their first time this year. Yeah. Friday night, you got Felix Hernandez now 11-2 with a 2.02 going against Gossman. I think that's going to be a win for Seattle, and in the end, I think Seattle might have some value to take 2 out of 3. This is a team that just played an outstanding series against against Anaheim, where 2 of the 3 games went extra innings. And all one-run ball games. I think this is going to be a great series, but I think in the end, Seattle will get 2 out of 3, and I actually think they'll have some value because right now Baltimore has been on a tear. I think it's just a great series, 2 teams that are going to be fighting for that wild card spot in the end. I'll take Seattle to get 2 out of 3. I like the pitching edges that I looked at early on in the series.
All right, the problem is, though, that you're going against some pretty strong year-long trends. Baltimore is, of course, the number 1 team in all of baseball to bet on, and Seattle, they've been profitable. It's all come on the road. I think they're actually unprofitable at home on the year overall.
No, I would agree. I mean, they are 25-26 at home. If you looked at them last night, they have scrambled around 14 hits. It's a good pitching team in the New York Mets. I think their pitching staff started to come together. I think this Mariner team is in the hunt, and I think they'll continue to be in the hunt. So I think they're going to become a little bit more profitable at home than they have been throughout the course of the year.
Okay, Troy, thanks for your thoughts once again.